the Ukrainian war has had is it's woken people up to the fact that the wars aren't just fought by people pressing buttons anymore. Like people just imagine by playing all these games and watching TV programs and films that it's all about cyber. It's all about pressing buttons, technology, and all this sort of stuff. Actually, wars will always be fought by physical things. Things like, the blokes on the ground, the soldiers on the ground, digging trenches, sticking bayonets in each other, firing missiles at each other, driving tanks and each other, and all that sort of stuff. So it still shows. It's gone to show that I think it's woken a lot of people up actually to the facts of the real realities of war. There is places for technology, and it is, there's more things being developed. Specifically, drones is a big one in Ukraine, but there's always going to be those poor bastard infantry digging trenches and shooting each other from short distances and closing with each other.
I'm not so sure, man. I mean, I understand as a veteran you're saying that, but like when you just watch these videos of these drones flying around, and I'm actually shocked at some of the videos I can actually sit and watch now. I'm almost desensitized to it. They basically these heat-seeking drones, and they just drop these grenades on people. Like, I don't really think there's much of a future for the human. I mean, it just seems like such a waste of life that's going on there. It's so inefficient. We're basically pockets of meat running around with these massive mortars and artillery flying around. And when you look at the development of AI and just the technology changing, it's like,
yeah.
I mean,
there's got to be soldiers to take that ground. You can't just have technology taking ground. It's never going to happen. You've got to have people on the ground to move into it, secure it, and then someone else has got to come back and take it off them, and so on, backwards and forwards. Obviously, there's all the places for the technology to enable that to happen, but it's never just going to be drones and just going to be people pressing buttons.
Well, I think for the foreseeable future will be a sort of hybrid, because the human has the best awareness on the ground at the time they can hear. But as technology gets better and better and better, you're going to be able to have augmented reality suits where you can almost be in the field, feel, and you can see around as good as you could hear or better, but you're not actually physically there. That's going to be very expensive, of course, but
yeah, and that's
you can see that there's a sort of range of time before you get to that point. Because in air superiority, a lot of these, the more maneuverable you are, the more you can survive, and eventually the human body won't be able to take those G-forces to be competitive. So I think humans won't be in jet fighters for much.
Yeah, well, that's what they've said. This is the last generation of fighters that's just coming out now. That's going to be manned by people. Yeah, but
Tempest.
The other thing you got to think about with warfare is it's never always going to be peer on peer. So you've got warfare that's going to be fighting guerrillas like we were in Afghanistan for so many years, and to a degree in Iraq as well, and also going all the way back to Vietnam and way before that as well. So all this technology doesn't always work when it comes to fighting guerrillas out in the hills, and when they're mixed in and amongst the local population. They can actually defeat that technology by just blending in.